Hey, what's going on everybody? Aaron here, helping musicians get better, faster through performances, educational videos, and product reviews. Today I'm just going to be going over the All-State Technical for Euphonium for 11 and 12 for Florida for the year 2020. Got it. Really quick, before we get too far into it, this is for Euphonium. In other grades, they mix and match the trombone and euphonium one. This is just euphonium. So if you're here looking for the trombone one, not here. This is just for euphonium. But anyway, let's dive into it. The very first thing I do want to mention is the tempo. Florida All-State does this every once in a while, and I don't like it, but it is something they do, and that's they just kind of give you something that's just a generic fast tempo, and they don't give you a BPM for it. In this case, it's just Vivace. So the temptation is there to learn it and just go as fast as you possibly can and just really shred and tear through these notes. I would caution you against that. Make sure that you are cleaner than you are fast. This has a lot of nice, really crisp staccatos in it, and we are looking for the separation of those notes and not the shortness of those notes, and we are looking for good clarity articulation, not necessarily just playing a bunch of notes as fast as you possibly can. So keep that in mind as you prepare it. Going specifically like really fast does not necessarily mean it's a lot. In the recording that I did earlier, though I don't have a metronome going, I think that I was practicing it in between doing eighth note at 180 to 200, like in that ballpark. And I don't think really almost 200 sounded unnecessary. That's why I don't think I recorded it that fast. Just doing it maybe a little bit slower than you think you really need to go. There's even recordings on here on YouTube of this particular thing that's going slower than even I did. So don't feel like you need to push really, really fast. The next big thing to watch out for are all of the accents that are kind of sprinkled in here. You don't want to just obliterate them. You don't want to just destroy these notes. What you really are looking for is more of just an embellishment or like an emphasis on these notes. Just giving them a little bit of a pop, a little bit of niceness, especially later on when you have when you're ascending up that line to that A flat. Just giving it a little bit of an extra pop at the end of the crescendo is just really nice. Another thing to watch out for in situations like measure 15 going into measure 16, where you end all this arpeggiated stuff onto a low A flat, just make sure you're not butchering that bottom note and you're not just like flying into it or anything like that. Make sure it's a nice crisp note that has a nice articulation to it, a nice sound to it, and is characteristically matching what you did earlier, but also has its rhythm to it as well. So you want to hesitate against doing something along the lines of like, just a note or an exclamation part to the end of it. Just really nice and musical, mature ending. Now, another thing that you're going to want to consider is those dotted quarters that are tied into sixteenths. Just make sure, there's a lot of them that you're gonna have to breathe on, and you're gonna have to take kind of sippy breaths just to get you through some of these phrases. Just make sure that they stay in time and that you're keeping that even through long notes and even through those tied notes as well. Just making sure that your rhythm is staying steady throughout the entire etude. You don't want to lose tempo because you're breathing or anything like that. You want to make sure that it stays strict. Whatever tempo you set in the first few bars, that's what you want to try to maintain until the writ at the end. Now, there is a hint of some dynamics here. There is a forte at the beginning and throughout most of the piece, and I'm not going to play that forte like a big band forte. I'm not trying to really give it. Mostly what I'm trying to do is just play nice and controlled and let the fingers and the articulation create the style, not just pure volume. But when I do have that one piano there in measure 17 and I'm going down and creating that crescendo, I'm gonna try to go down as far as I can with a nice good sound and making sure the notes come out and let the articulation speak all the way through. And I'm gonna push that crescendo actually all the way up to that A flat, not just end it at the end of the measure like the actual like written crescendo is. I'm gonna give it a little bit extra. There's that nice accent on there. You know, it's a nice artistic thought, and I don't think the judges will have too much of a problem with that little bit of a liberty. And speaking of artistic liberties, the last thing I'd really watch out for is the writ that's there at the end of the piece. You just want to make sure that you're not getting too slow too fast or too sudden. You want to make sure that it's incremental. And in all honesty, I'm not slowing up a ton where the writ is actually written. I'm probably going to do it in that last measure, that measure 36. That's probably where I'm going to go ahead and just start with my writ and not try to do too much too early so that I have to be really slow later in the writ. But really, there's not much to this one. It's a woodshed, it's getting the articulation down, it's getting the fingerings, all the jumps with the arpeggios, just watching out for that. Maybe doing some supplemental exercises with articulations and with arpeggios. But for the most part, there's not a ton to watch out for this. It's just kind of one of those like, you know, get good, just play it well pieces. Really, the biggest thing, like I said in the beginning, is just don't go too fast. If you like this little bit of help, make sure that you go and check out the playlist that this video is in to find the lyrical as well as some other tip videos for All-State. And if you need any extra help for getting ready for All-State, I do teach private lessons and the information for that is in the description down below. But anyways, that's all I've got for you. My name's Aaron, reminding you to be happy but never satisfied. And I'll see you next time.